Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the other side of the coin and welcome to your latest Chelsea news. Do you remember probably late last season when there was rumors about possibly a points deduction coming Chelsea's way? Obviously, in recent times, with the wins we've had, with the new manager, with the hype and whatnot of this season, a lot of us have forgotten about those points deduction news. And plus, on top of that, there's not been too much that's been said about all of these things. Now, if you recall, late last season or even late last year, around November 2023, there was reports about that Chelsea, they're getting investigated for all the wrongdoings under Roman Abramovich era, and they have found certain anomalies in terms of under the table payments to agents and this, that, the other, some money laundering situations as well. Our new owners, they're being very cooperative. They've been very upfront about all of this, and they've provided all of the information, and they don't want to hide anything because they want to make sure that they comply with all the rules and regulation. And they were tossing up that whether we're going to get a financial penalty, or is there going to be a transfer ban? Is there going to be a points deduction? All of that was being tossed around. I remember even Talk Sports, Simon Jordan was also saying that it's inevitable that Chelsea will end up getting points deduction. I remember I even did videos and I've done, tweets on it online saying that it looks like it's inevitable. But as I said, we've all forgotten about it. And now it's slowly come into the surface again. This is a report from Ben Jacobs. Now, Ben Jacobs, when it comes to ownership matters, I think he's got a bit of clue about that, especially, direct information from the owners. I think he's got some idea. When it comes to transfer news, I don't think he has much idea about that. So we get to this report from Ben Jacobs, who recently put this on via Con CFC's space on Twitter. But how did all of this materialize, ladies and gentlemen? How are we talking about points deduction? We're having a very, very happy moment right now at Chelsea Football Club. We don't want to hear about points deduction. How did this even come about? Okay, well, this came about from this particular individual named Sumit, who's also on Twitter. He posted a reply in his comments to a different tweet altogether. And he said, just on a separate matter, that, look, it looks like it's inevitable that Chelsea is going to get some level of points deduction this season. It's just going to happen, 100%. And he was saying that it is on Chelsea's interest to ensure that we get a large gap as possible. We try and get as many points as possible this season so that when that points deduction does arrive, that it doesn't hurt us so much. Then he later saw that, that reply absolutely blew up. Everyone started retweeting. Everyone got very, very, not upset with him, but upset about the situation. And then off the back of that, Sumit then posted another tweet clarifying the entire matter. Now, let's have a look at what Sumit said first, and then we'll go to Ben Jacobs and see what he had to say about the whole situation. Sumit, this is what he said. I guess that reply about the points deduction took off. So let me clear some things up. I was told that we are absolutely getting a points deduction. It's pretty much unavoidable. I was also told that it's very likely to happen this winter, but it could come later. So this is what Sumit said. He further goes on to say, essentially, it's a matter of when, not if, we are getting a deduction at some point. Come to terms with it. And I'm not trolling or joking. I was reliably told this. Believe me, if you want or don't. Now, look, I generally, with these type of, information, I don't want to take them too seriously because they're not journalists. Now, they may know someone internally, so be it. But the one thing that we do need to understand is I think there will be some level of points deduction. Look, I don't know whether it's going to be points deduction, but there's going to be some level of penalty coming our way because there are some financial anomalies under Roman Abramovich's era. And the FA have done investigation on Everton. Everton, if you guys remember, got points deduction last season. They're doing investigation on Man City. We are one of them as well that they're doing investigation on, and they've found some anomalies. I'm pretty sure they'll go and do investigations on other clubs as well. Look, every club, I'm pretty sure, is culpable. They're all doing all of these under the table business dealings with agents. It's a corrupted field. There's no two ways about that. Now, let's have a look at what Ben Jacobs had to say. The latest on Abramovich era investigation. It's absolute nonsense to be talking about potential points deduction happening immediately when no charges even exist yet, as the Premier League are still investigating. So Ben Jacobs saying, look, don't worry about the points deduction as yet. The investigations are still going on until we come to a resolution there. We can't talk about any of these charges as yet, which makes sense, but the investigation is continuing. I think that is the most important part, that eventually enough, they'll find this out, because these things are there in the open. Even our owners have publicly presented the anomalies. They don't want to hide anything. And maybe this is probably one of the reasons why we've gone out there and we've bought heavily in the transfer market, maybe thinking we might get some level of penalty, whether it's a transfer ban and whatnot. I could probably live with a transfer ban. Maybe not a summer transfer ban, but I could probably live with a January transfer ban. This is not like Forest as well. I think getting investigated, or might have been investigated and they got done, or Everton, which were charged as part of the current PSR cycle. Even if today Chelsea were charged and we don't know yet, there would have to be a hearing and it would drag on for a significant period of time. So that's very good that hopefully this season, we're having such a good season, a points deduction. Our players don't deserve that. Things that have happened in Roman Abramovich's era, our players, current manager don't deserve all the hard work that we're putting, and when it gets undone with a points deduction. You are probably looking at a minimum of 2 years before anything is concluded if Chelsea are charged from that Roman Abramovich era. So that's somewhat of a good news. I mean, ultimately, it looks like we are going to get charged. It's just a matter of when, I suppose, as Sumit said. And if that hypothetical happens, Clearlake-Boehly would fully cooperate as they did with UEFA, which can potentially lessen the severity of the punishment. Exactly. We got some sort of financial penalty through UEFA previously. I don't know exactly how much money that we got penalized, but we got penalized some money. That was because our owners were upfront about some misdoings from the previous regime. First, we have to see if Chelsea have been charged. Then we have to wait and see if it's a hearing or a settlement, as they agreed with UEFA. And then with the whole process, we would need to run its course, but you can't have a punishment or something you haven't been even charged with. So look, as I said, Ben Jacobs, when it comes to these sort of information, ownership sort of information, I tend to take him serious, because I think he does have some direct links with the owners. When it comes to transfer rumors, I don't think he's got any idea. So look, good and bad news. Good news that hopefully this season it doesn't get disrupted and we don't get points deduction, and we try and do our best this season as much as we can. Bad news is I think we might get done down the track. And look, next season, if we're in the title race, points deduction will be heavy on us. So let's see what happens. Hopefully points deduction don't happen and we get away with a lesser punishment, because we're upfront about it. Let's see what happens. So ladies and gentlemen, let me know your thoughts. I wanted to give you guys an update on the matter because it is circulating at the moment. Now, next up, ladies and gentlemen, exclusive 15-year-old Mathis Eboue, 15-year-old. Do you know what? Like, I mean, I know we live in a social media era now, and back then it wasn't so prevalent. It wasn't so available for all of us 10 years ago or so. I can't believe we're now hearing news about 15-year-olds getting signed. But look, it is what it is. I don't like that kind of attention coming towards a 15-year-old. I think they don't. It's a massive distraction for a young kid, and I don't think it's necessary. But nonetheless, look, the latest. If you guys remember, Emmanuel Eboue, for all those old folks out there, Emmanuel Eboue, Arsenal right back. He was a pretty good right back, There's a famous video of Emmanuel Eboue in the international duty. I believe it might have been in the World Cup, where he's listening to, might have been a game against China. It might have been a China game where I think the Chinese manager was talking to his player, and Emmanuel Eboue was standing there going, he's trying to understand him. Look, Eboue was a very good right back for Arsenal, and now his son, Mathis Eboue. Chelsea have completed deal to sign the England under-16 talent Mathis Eboue from Watford. High-quality attacking player. Eboue's former Arsenal player's son now can be considered Chelsea FC player. Paperwork done. One more for Chelsea Academy. Long-term plan. Here we go. So let's see. We'll keep a track of how Mathis Eboue does. Emmanuel Eboue was a very, very good player for Arsenal, as I said. I wonder where Mathis Eboue plays. Let me know in the comment section if any of you guys know much about Mathis Eboue in the comment section. Let me know. That's another that's circulating now. Whole heap of conversation in regards to Maresca and whole heap of other players to talk about as well. I love him, man. Enzo Maresca. Do you remember when Ryan and I we were doing earlier episodes of That's Life podcast that we might just have to go through chop and changing managers until we finally reach a manager that we can hold on to. And I think now finally we have reached that position where we can hold on to a manager. Enzo Maresca, ladies and gentlemen, straight shooter. He don't talk no nonsense. Praises when needs to be praised. Tactically astute and also educates the fan base about his tactics as well. And overall, just someone who seems to be developing our current players. He seems like he's the gaffer that we needed, and finally we have struck gold. So let's check out what Maresca had to say. Maresca, I spend hours to understand how I can help the players. We do extra sessions, review games. I love it. This is how you improve. Do you know how we see certain players, they do the same thing over and over again, same mistakes, and we wonder, what are they doing in training? And I keep saying, it's just a matter of sitting down with them, showing them their videos, and actually pinpointing where they're going wrong. And I'm sure eventually enough, if they work hard in the training ground, that they shouldn't make those same mistakes again. Like, for example, Madueke, you can sit down with him and actually guide him that, Madueke, you can be so much better in your decision making. Look at some of the decisions you're making. Maybe lift your head. Maybe you can scan a little bit before you deliver that ball. You've got the time. You've got the pace. And maybe these are the areas that you should be shooting from. Do you know what I mean? And that's just Madueke. There's Nicholas Jackson who can learn from that. And there's many. Cole Palmer can learn from that. Many more. I love the fact, Enzo Maresca. I spend hours to understand how I can help the players. We do extra sessions, review games. Half the trick in life, ladies and gentlemen, is preparation. Any aspect of life. You prepare well, you shall succeed. It's simply as that. If you don't prepare well, you're bound to failure. You're bound to fail. Simple as that. I've got 4 to 5 assistants upstairs spending time to find the details, which positions, which to control the ball with, right or left foot, playing with right, left foot. I love it. I love it, man. Kudos. And this is the level of, we live in 2024 in this modern era. So much footage is available. Video analysis should be a huge component of development. Yeah, you go out there and you physically train and you work on certain aspects of the game. Yes, of course. Tactically, work on a lot of things, but sit down a couple of hours a day. Have a look at the video. Let's go through areas that you should be improving on. I think this is where players can also get a lot out of as well, when they visually see where things they can improve on. Maresca, I was upset first 15 to 20 minutes of Southampton. We pressed in the wrong way. I called some players to the bench. We needed to change. If you don't press man-to-man against Southampton, we struggled to recover the ball. We scored 5, could have been more, but we were happy with 5. I love it. Once again, in a 5-1 victory, Maresca's finding areas where we can improve and things that really made him upset. He's not concerned about the result. As I've said, he's concerned about the performance. He's there to fine-tune the performance. And he's right. The first 15 to 20 minutes, the press looked very depressing. And I'm glad he's addressed that. And after that, we did look slightly better, even though it wasn't as great as how it looks like when Nicholas Jackson plays and our normal sort of setup on a regular basis play in the Premier League. And this is where Nkunku needs to up his game a little bit more. But nonetheless, we got the job done at the end. Maresca says you can expect to see Caicedo inverting from right back in the future, but he is primarily a holding midfielder for us. So look, this is, of course, it makes sense. Like, even if he does sort of play in that right back position, that he's only doing that off the ball. He's only doing that when defending. On the ball, he is actually playing as a central midfielder, as a holding midfielder. Now, yeah, maybe it's not ideal for him. Maybe he wants to even be there off the ball as well. But it does give us a different dynamic, man. It allows, he's like a cheat code, Caicedo. Off the ball, he becomes a right back. On the ball, he becomes a central midfielder. That's a cheat. That's 2-in-1 player, which then allows us to have another extra body up front, an extra attacker. I probably expect this setup against Spurs in the upcoming game in the weekend. It's a brilliant setup. And Caicedo seems to be executing it to the T, because he's done that at Brighton for De Zerbi as well. So I like that. Look, but the bottom line is he's primarily a holding midfielder for us. So the whole right back scenario, him off the ball going there and inverting from there, is not going to happen every game, but time to time we might see that. Okay, let's check out some other news that's been floating around. Let's check out from, here we go. Robert is our number one goalkeeper. So once again, Enzo Maresca has made it categorically, evident out there that don't worry about this goalkeeper conversation. Robert Sanchez is going to be the number one. Next, he goes on to say, this is all from the press conference. The good thing is, no matter how many players we change, you can see the identity of our team. And this is exactly what we need. We need to get to a situation where it doesn't matter who we change, because the system dictates. This is what Klopp's Liverpool looked like. If you guys remember when Klopp was around, it didn't matter who you removed from the system. They were doing the same thing, pressing aggressively, because the system takes over the individual. Obviously, the individual performances matter, individual quality matters, of course, but the system is so evident to see that it supersedes, individuality. This is where we need to get to, where the system dictates the play, not an individual's quality. As I said, the individual quality is important, but the system needs to be the superior matter here. I love it. I love it. Maresca and Madueke, overall, he's working well since we started. Sometimes he drops a little bit. He's not allowed to drop in terms of numbers. He's doing fantastic with goals and assists. And this is, once again, people say, I'm a hater. I've got an agenda. Maresca himself is demanding more. Maresca himself is demanding more from Madueke. People say, Miz, you act like Madueke is the finished product. I don't act like that. Mr. Enzo Maresca is saying he's not allowed to drop. He's not allowed to drop. Madueke can do so much more. Honestly, he can. He gets into some lovely positions. It's maddening. He should be getting more than just a goal or an assist here and there. He should be banging in every game. He's got the qualities, just up here. I think he just needs to get a bit stronger. And Madueke himself recently, he replied back to the criticism that he copped from Maresca, saying that, yeah, it's true. He agrees with Maresca. And hopefully he works on that. Maresca, we try always to explore defenses, no matter the other team or their defenders. I think Romero can be back, probably the solution from them. We will see. Look, we shall see if Romero is back or not. I'm not worried. We should take care of Spurs. I think Spurs, they're in massive trouble. They're in massive trouble, ladies and gentlemen. Maresca gets a question from an Italian journalist about the title race. Even the Italian guy who's meant to be helping me is asking about the title race. He's a funny guy as well, Maresca. He's serious. He talks tactics. He talks as a straight shooter. There's no dilly-dallying around, but there's also that humor about him as well. Even the Italian journalist is saying that we're in a look, I'll tell you straight up, guys. For a title race, you need to have a winning run of minimum 10, 12, 13 games. Minimum. The last time we won the Premier League under Antonio Conte, there was at least, I think, 13 or 14 games winning streak. And that's what propelled us to winning that title. So that's what you need to do. Do we have that in us? Have we seen that in us over the last 4 or 5 seasons? No. So that's why I keep saying, let's see what happens at the end of December. Let's see what happens at the end of January. Let's see if Liverpool drop any points. And if we are somewhere close, in a close proximity to Liverpool by the end of January, and we've conjured up quite a lot of wins in a row, then we'll see. We'll entertain it. Right now, top 4 is where we want to, concentrate on. And this is why it's important to keep picking up wins, and got a huge game coming up against Spurs, which we need a victory on. Enzo Fernandez not for sale in January transfer window and considered important part of Chelsea project. Cassidy and Carney Chukwuemeka could be midfielders who leave in January. Look, Enzo Fernandez, he's turned his life around over the last 3 games, All of a sudden, he's running. He's winning duels for fun. That Argentinian dog is coming out. Now, I don't know whether that's because of his recent relationship separation from his wife and whatnot. Is that liberated him a little bit? Does he feel a little bit more free in his mind? Maybe. Personal matters sometimes does impact on the field, lack of form. It may. But I'm so glad he's back. I already knew from the get-go, on the ball, he was fantastic. Always knew. But off the ball, it was a little bit of annoyance for me that, why are you getting done like that? You are stronger than that. I've seen you in Benfica. And I'm glad that we finally got that back. And he's now all of a sudden starting to become an important player again. Assists, goals, winning duels, the lot. He's starting to look like a complete package. And I'm glad he's found his way out of this. He's got a long-term contract at Chelsea. Got a lot to achieve. He can do that at Chelsea Football Club. Head down, keep working hard. Head down, keep working hard. Yes, not up for sale. Too important in January. I love it. I love how he's turned these around, because there was a point not that long ago we were entertaining, thinking about getting rid of him. And I'm glad he's turned that around. Cassidy and Carney Chukwuemeka, yes, they're definitely going to be up for sale. Definitely Chukwuemeka. Cassidy is someone I like, to be honest. Chukwuemeka is someone I like as well, but he just doesn't get enough game time. Enzo Fernandez is improving a lot in terms of understanding the game and position. Now he's arriving in the box. This is what we need from the attacking players. He has many things he can do better. All the squad too. He's in the right way. Absolutely. I love it. I love it, Enzo Fernandez. This is coming from Maresca again through Fabrizio Romano. Bit of Mudryk news. Mudryk's agent, Vadim Shabli. Players like Misha will always attract the attention of other clubs, but at the moment he has a contract with Chelsea and all his thoughts are about how to secure his place in the starting 11, told Evening Standard. And that's all you can do, Mikel Mudryk. Apparently he's ill. That's why he wasn't in the squad. Hopefully he recovers quickly enough. I don't know if he's going to be available for the Spurs game. Look, concentrate, work hard, develop. I think he has developed a little bit under Enzo Maresca, but there's a long way to go. A long way to go for Mikel Mudryk. So, look, let's see what the future holds. I still think that maybe in the summer we might get rid of him, whether it's a loan, whether it's a permanent transfer. We shall see. I think he's definitely surplus to requirements. But for the time being, we've got Conference League matches. We've got some cup matches coming up. FA Cup, I think, third round ties against Morecambe. There's some matches that Mudryk can look forward to and definitely start and show that maybe he can feature in the Premier League as well. So let's see what happens in regards to Mudryk. I do believe he's one that is potentially surplus to requirements. Last but not least, ladies and gentlemen, Reece James and Wesley Fofana are doing better, but they are still weeks away. Mudryk is currently ill. So look, I think Wesley Fofana is probably not going to be back until probably January, and similarly with Reece James as well. God knows, I don't really know about Reece James when he's going to be back. And even when he is back, he's got to train first to then eventually get back into the team. It's just long with Reece James. Ladies and gentlemen, let me know your thoughts about everything we spoke about. Hope you've enjoyed this. Smash the like button. If you're here for the first time, subscribe. Hit the bell notification to stay in touch with all my content. Till next time, take care. See ya.